this isn't limited to Japanese, but the fastest way to another language is to speak it out loud. Of course, I had troubles at first, like with grammar rules and the differences between dokuan and handakuran, but that's was trial and error. My older sister mastered Japanese before I did, and I owe a lot of my Japanese proficiency to her correcting my mistakes time and time again. Thank you very much for the introduction. I am Olga Bellacour. I studied regenerative medicine for my postgraduate degree and mainly research medical uses of cloning technology. I came to Japan when I began at the university, so this will be my 9th year living here. My favorite Japanese author is Haruki Murakami, and my favorite food is natto rolls. Thank you for having me, and I hope to learn much under your guidance. I spoke clearly and fluently. They gave me a deep bow. It was perfect. My grammar and intonations, as well as word usage and sense of humor, were flawless. None of the researchers I'd greet before me, nor Dr. Terashima, smiling beside me, had noticed anything odd about my Japanese greeting. In fact, they seemed to be relieved seeing there wouldn't be any communication issues with me moving forward. I knew hard-working, honest researcher. It was clear to see I'd exceed in planting that first impression of myself in their minds. But that first impression was a complete sham. I am far from a hard-working and honest researcher. Hell, Olga Bellacour isn't even my real name. I never studied regenerative medicine, and I never took a single postgraduate course. There wasn't one shred of the truth in anything I told them. Sad spy sisters, certain researchers' notes. I'll be escorting you from here. After greeting my new fellow colleagues, Dr. Terashima began showing me around the facilities. Dr. Terashima, full name Daichi Terashima. Although he's 61, he dyes his beard and long hair brown, but it didn't seem like he was trying too hard to make himself look younger. There was a interesting aura about him, as if that was his natural state of being. He's the director of Mashiro Nanotechnology Institute, also known as Manny, and is a highly capable researcher who helms operations here. Despite his high social standings, he gave no impression of being arrogant about his position. Showing a newcomer around the facilities was something usually done by someone of a lower rank, but Dr. Terashima insisted he do it himself. Haven't you heard? It was scientifically proven that talking to a sexy woman is good for your brain. We walked all around the many facilities with Dr. Terashima taking charge. People ask me sometimes, why would you make your research facility in the middle of the ocean? But what kind of question is that? The answer is obvious, because it's cool. Uh-huh. Making facilities in the ocean because it's cool. Is that his idea of a joke? Or perhaps it's a method of completely shutting out intruders and preserving sensitive information. Whatever the case, I was at a loss on how to respond. And yet, it didn't seem like the time to question him further. So I left at that point. It probably wasn't anything important in a ways. The walls of many underwater facilities are made of the acrylic glass used in aquariums. As we walked side by side with the fish watching us. Even though the man I was with is 61 years old, it felt like we were on a date at the aquarium. I wonder if Dr. Terashima felt the same way. Maybe if this facility is retired someday, I have to repurpose it into a new kind of aquarium. He said it out loud, fringing ignorance. If this facility is retired, that would be when my research here achieves its end goal. Meaning the clone research being conducted here would be implemented for everyday use. My mind was paralyzed by the magnitude of his flippancy. It's not because I'm too serious, and it's certainly not because I'm bothered by an old man boastful talk. It's simply because it goes against my religious beliefs. This may be out of left field, but my country's religion strictly prohibits the development and use of cloning technology. Cloning is blasphemy. It's nothing more than an act of destruction against the way the world should be. So why would someone with my religious outlook join Manny as a researcher? Simply to spy on them. To cast aside Manny's clone technology and research into the shadows of history. Bury it so it never existed. It's why I curated, I don't know how to say that word, that's a brand new word to me, my background, and was sent here to Manny's completely undercovered. XXX. Well, see ya later. Let me know if you have any questions. Dr. Terashima waved his hand and disappeared down the hallway. Thank you. I lowered my head and stared at the ground, then slowly exhaled. With the tour completed, my work for the day as a researcher was complete. Alright, I decided to head towards my big sister's room as planned. My sister's been laying low in Manny's as a researcher for a year now. Now that I think about it, it's been a whole year since I've seen her. She's apparently had her hands full with the project working on, and I didn't see her at the earlier meeting. I followed the mental map I memorized and headed to the dormitory area then pressed the interphone button for her room. "Coming!" I could hear my sister's voice through the door. Her face appeared on the palm-sized monitor. Her glowing porcelain skin and amber eyes that seemed to draw in anyone who looked into them. She's perfect, just as I remembered her. "Olga, one sec. I'm opening the door." She called my fake name with her angelic voice, and I hopped out of the view of the monitor. The door opened soon after. "Big sis." It's been a whole year since I've seen her in the flesh. She was really there. I had even dreamt of this day. I suppressed the urge to call her by her real name and leapt at her like an Olympian to embrace her. "I've missed you so much." Ah. We both tumbled to the floor and ended up sitting on top of... I ended up sitting on top of her. She must have hit her head pretty hard, but she still smiled at me happily. "It's been a while, Olga." Her smile seemed to have forced the tears out of me. I tried holding it in, but I couldn't stop the pathetic whimper from leaking out. I shoved my face into my sister's chest in an attempt to hide it. "Olga, what are you..." "I missed you." I truly, truly had. Whenever I faced hardships, I had always thought of my sister. Like during spy training, when I hadn't eaten or drank for 72 hours and had been unable to lift a finger. Or when I had killed all the criminals in my motherland as part of an assassination training. Or when I had to offer my body over and over again to men many times older than me, who I had no feelings for. You must have been through so much. My sister stroked my hair like she could see into my mind, as if to make up for all the lost time, for all the time I couldn't spend with her. I cried for nearly a whole hour. When I came to, lifted my head from her chest, she must have been tired from supporting my weight for an hour. "I'll make us some tea." She smiled warmly and began brewing green tea. "Thanks." As she handed me the cup of tea, she also gave me a piece of paper at the same time. There, in perfect handwriting, was the following message in our native language. "You don't have to worry about any cameras, but they may be listening in. We'll discuss that matter through written messages." Straight to work, huh? To be honest, there was a part of me that wanted to have more personal time with her. I had spent nearly an hour crying on top of my sister. I couldn't really say it too early to start talking business. I took the pen and notebook from her without resisting. "Understood, but first, can you tell me about your progress so far?" We kept a casual talk out loud, but she gave me details on the spy activities she had been doing this year. The information we received beforehand regarding Manny's militarization of their clone technology was correct. I have succeeded in gathering data that can prove this. So, is it data or is it data? Anyways, so the information our country officials and received was accurate then. Not only had Manny's committed the grave sin of clone development, but they were thinking of using them for military purposes. There was only one thing for us to do. I looked into my sister's eyes, mentally conveying that the thought to her. She gave me a small nod without a word, then jotted down another sentence. As planned, we will massacre all the researchers here. Massacre. It seems like a heavy word, but what we were doing is cleansing for the good of the world. A service to God. There is no reason to feel any guilt. And that's that. This option enables pressing R3 as a function as X. Oh, so can I try that?
Gonna try using it.
Oh, I can just do that.
Here goes nothing.
That's kind of cool.
Gonna try using it. There it is.
It feels like my hand, since like I use my thumb to press the button, that I'm actually using my hand to push the button by doing this.
Here goes nothing. Look out!
All right. Well, thanks for joining me.